greatest compliment I was ever paid was when somebody asked my opinion and actually took the time to listen. My name is Joel Sweeney. My area of expertise is oral communication. I help entrepreneurs and business professionals become confident, engaging, and effective speakers. My tip this month is around listening. And I'm going to focus on two aspects or two types of listening. One is passive listening and the other is active listening. So passive listening is, I'll use a couple of examples. Listening to our radio. We might be in our car, or might be home in our kitchen. We could be listening to our MP3 player, a playlist on our smartphone. Basically, it's there just for entertainment. We don't have to process the information. We just have to enjoy it. And that's called passive listening. But it's an interesting perspective that if, let's take the radio example as a prime one. And if the announcer was to make a comment about call you by name or reference your name or reference the name of a close colleague or friend or family member, all of a sudden you would switch from passive listening to active listening in a heartbeat. And the reason you switch to active listening is we want to know more. We want to know what is being said and what this information is all about. So we want that additional information. So all of a sudden we're in active listening mode. Well, if we take that into our oral communication, particularly one-on-one or one-on-a-few, then being an active listener means we want to get more information. And the more adept we are at being an active listener, the more information is made available to us. And with that information, we can provide a much more effective response and carry the conversation to the next level. Now, the same applies when we're dealing with an audience. If we're stood at the front of the room and we're dealing with an audience, whether that be a small audience or a large audience, we still have the opportunity to practice active listening. Now, you might ask, well, how can I practice active listening if I'm the speaker? Well, it's been proven that 55% of oral communication occurs at the nonverbal level. So that's 55% of the communication process. The information that's available to us is at the nonverbal level. And if we're speakers at the front of the room, we can avail of that information if we train ourselves to be adept at reading it. So if we look out at our audience and start to process the information that they're communicating with us in a nonverbal way, then we have additional information that we can work with. We can determine, are they interested in what I'm saying? Are they disinterested in what I'm saying? Are they agreeing with what I'm saying? Do they disagree? Do they look confused? Do they look like they understand? All of these things are available to us. All of this information is available to us. We just need to take the time to focus in on it. In other words, we need to become active listeners. So whether it's one-on-one or one-on-1,000, the more adept you are at being an active listener, the more information you have available to you to work with. That's your tip for this month. Now go out and make your voice heard.